cold feet at night? This 1 spoon restores leg circulation while you sleep. You already know this feeling. You've known it for years. Late at night, exhausted, finally in bed, and your feet are blocks of ice, blanket pulled all the way up, feet tucked under your partner, socks you put on just for this, and nothing works. And the worst part, the rest of your body is perfectly warm, which means you know it's not about the cold in the room. Something else is going on. You've known that for a while too. You just couldn't find anyone willing to actually explain it. Most people reach for a heating pad and call it a night, and sure, it helps for maybe an hour. But by 2 a.m., the cold is back, the sleep is gone, and there you are again, staring at the ceiling, wondering why something this simple has no real answer. Well, it does have an answer. It's just not the kind doctors spend much time on. Your feet aren't cold because of the temperature in the room. They're cold because blood isn't reaching them, and that happens for a very specific reason that gets stronger as we age, especially after 60, and almost nobody talks about it directly. As the years go by, your arteries lose some of their flexibility. They don't expand and contract the way they used to, so blood moves through your legs more slowly. And your legs are already the furthest point from your heart. On top of that, the veins that push blood back upward start to weaken. So the whole loop in the lower body gets sluggish. That heaviness you feel in your legs by the end of the day, that's part of the same thing. And then at night, your nervous system steps in and makes it worse on purpose. It pulls blood toward your core, your heart, lungs, kidneys, liver, and away from your legs and feet. It's not a sign that something is broken. It's actually your body protecting itself, prioritizing the organs it absolutely cannot lose. Your feet in that survival calculation are considered expendable. So you end up with a warm chest and toes that feel like they belong to someone else entirely. And no heating pad in the world fixes that, because the problem isn't the temperature of your skin. It's that the blood supply to your feet gets quietly shut down every single night. That's why the old remedies your grandmother knew, the foot soaks, the mustard baths, the warming pastes, weren't just superstition. She didn't have the scientific name for what she was doing, but she understood the result. And she was right. Here's the science behind why. Your blood vessel walls contain receptors called TRPA1. Think of them as little switches that control whether your vessels open up or tighten down. Normally at night, they help tighten things down as part of that survival response we just talked about. But certain natural compounds can flip those switches the other way, telling the vessels to open up and let blood through, even while you're sleeping. One of the most effective compounds for doing exactly that is found in dry mustard powder. It's called allyl isothiocyanate, and it's the same thing that gives mustard that sharp, nose-clearing bite. When it reaches the receptors in your blood vessel walls, your nervous system reads it as a warmth signal and responds by widening the vessels. Blood that was being held back starts moving outward again, down through your legs, into your calves, your ankles, your feet. And that's why people who grew up with mustard foot soaks swore by them. They worked, the knowledge just got buried under decades of take this pill instead. Now, why mustard and not cayenne or ginger? Those create heat too, right? They do, but cayenne is genuinely harsh on the stomach lining, especially for anyone dealing with digestive issues. reflux, or kidney concerns. At night, the last thing you want is to trade cold feet for an upset stomach at 3 a.m. Mustard powder produces a very similar effect on the circulation with far less irritation. Your grandmother probably knew this too, even if she couldn't explain why. So here's what you actually need: half a teaspoon of dry mustard powder, and this matters. Dry powder, not the stuff from a squeeze bottle, 1 tablespoon of raw honey, and a small pinch of Celtic sea salt. Mix them into a paste. That's genuinely everything. Now, let me explain why each piece matters, because this isn't just a random combination. The raw honey isn't there to make it taste better. Raw honey contains natural enzymes that slow down how fast the mustard compound moves through your digestive system. Without honey, the compound absorbs quickly, gives you a short burst of vasodilation, and fades before you even fall asleep. With raw honey, that absorption stretches out over several hours, which means the circulation support keeps working through the night while you're sleeping. Regular store-bought honey, the kind that's been pasteurized, has had those enzymes destroyed by heat. It looks identical in the jar, but it won't do the same job. The Celtic Sea salt is there because your veins use something called the sodium-potassium pump to push blood upward through your legs against gravity, especially when you're lying still and your calf muscles aren't helping. That pump depends on specific trace minerals, magnesium and potassium among others, that are naturally present in Celtic sea salt but get stripped out when regular table salt is refined. A small pinch gives your veins what they need to keep the blood actually moving, not just through open vessels, but upward and back to the heart where it belongs. Take the paste about 30 minutes before you go to bed, and that window matters more than you might think. Your body actually starts reducing circulation to your extremities about 90 minutes before you fall asleep. It's part of your internal clock, your circadian rhythm, preparing your system for rest. By the time your head hits the pillow, that process is already well underway. If you wait until you're about to sleep, you're already playing catch-up. Taking the paste 30 minutes before bed puts the mustard compound into your system right as that shutdown sequence begins, so it can push back against the constriction from the start, rather than trying to reverse it after the fact. The first night, you'll probably feel a gentle warmth starting in your chest, moving slowly downward over 15 or 20 minutes. Not dramatic, not uncomfortable. Some people notice it in their calves first. Others just find that when they check their feet before drifting off, they're simply less cold than usual. It feels like a slow thaw, quiet and gradual, which is exactly how it should feel. By nights 2 and 3, something more consistent starts to happen. Your feet still take a little time to warm up, but they get there, maybe 20 minutes after lying down instead of not at all. And a lot of people notice around this time that they're waking up less in the middle of the night, which makes complete sense because a big part of what wakes us up at night is physical discomfort. The brain registers even when we're not fully awake. Cold feet are doing that to you more than you realize. By day 7, it's usually clear. Feet that used to take an hour to warm up, if they warmed up at all, start feeling comfortable within minutes. Nighttime leg cramps, which are often a direct result of poor circulation in the lower legs, tend to ease up. And because your body isn't spending the whole night fighting temperature imbalance, your sleep gets deeper and you wake up feeling like you actually rested, even if the hours are the same. One important note: if you or someone you love is managing kidney health, mustard powder in this small amount is low in both potassium and phosphorus, which makes it one of the safer natural circulation options for people with CKD. But do check with your doctor before starting, especially if you're on blood pressure medication, since opening up blood vessels does interact with how those medications work. And the most common mistake people make is using prepared mustard from a jar instead of dry powder. The vinegar in bottled mustard breaks down the active compounds significantly, and the other additives don't help either. You need the dry powder for it to survive long enough in your system to actually reach the receptors and do what it's supposed to do. One last thing, right after you take the paste, do 10 slow ankle circles on each foot clockwise, then counterclockwise. It takes about 90 seconds and it genuinely adds to the effect. Your calf muscle works as a secondary pump for your lower body. Every time it contracts even slightly, it squeezes the veins and helps push blood back upward toward your heart. Pairing that small movement with the vasodilation already happening from the paste means both signals are working at the same time. The paste opens the vessels, the ankle circles push blood through them. Together, they work faster than either one would alone. Give it 7 nights. Pay attention to how your feet feel, how your sleep feels, how your legs feel in the morning. Your body already knows how to do this. It just needs the right signal at the right time. If you want to go deeper on natural ways to support your circulation and your sleep, the next video is right there. And if this worked for you, leave a comment and tell us about it. Because when you share what actually helped, you might be giving someone else their first good night's sleep in years.